And I can take her down.
Yay.
Welcome everyone to class 4 of the Jumpstart Your Health for Cancer Survivors. There might be more people coming on, so I'll just keep an eye out. So today we're talking about plant-based protein, soy and beans, and one of the things, and then we're going to be making a kind of anti-cancer salad with like an Asian twist and a really yummy dressing. And then salad, like when you, if you're like fully plant-based, salad can't just be lettuce and tomatoes. It has to have the beans and the grains. So our salad tonight is going to have some kind of whole grain. It could be quinoa or farro. I'm going to make farro, I decided. And then for the protein, I'm going to add tofu and edamame. And the tofu I bought already cooked. You can buy teriyaki tofu. The thing with tofu, you always want to get it organic. So the only thing we really have to cook ahead of time is the whole grain. And if you didn't buy pre-cooked tofu, then you might want to bake that first. So I'm just going to turn on my water for the farro, which I can do without getting up. Look really lazy sitting here. Just because I want mine to be done and kind of cool when we're putting the salad together. All right, and then everything else kind of, you can see in my picture, is kind of washed and ready to go. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. This is the talk on nutrition does matter. Let's see, how do I get to this slideshow? Let's start. So I'm just going to minimize all you guys. It's blocking my words. Okay. But just shout out if you have questions. I love this little cartoon of this little guy. what is he? Chipmunk? No, he's a, anyone know what he is? Like a
meerkat.
A meerkat? That's very specific.
Looks like.
Wow.
I don't know what to call him.
It's not a squirrel. So little.
And he's like, no meat at all? Are you sure you're getting enough protein? This like huge muscular mammal. And in fact, you know, a lot of people nowadays think you need to eat animal muscle protein in order to make bigger muscles and get strong. And you just need to use your muscles to make bigger muscles. So this whole like protein craze that I feel like is the latest fad is easily achieved with a whole food plant-based diet. And I love just pointing out that the African bush elephant is the largest land mammal in the world, and he only eats plants. And rhinoceroses only eat plants. Hippopotamuses mostly eat grass. And our muscular primate friends, the gorillas, only eat plants. And then I had to throw in this guy, Brian Turner, who's evidently the world's most cheerful weightlifter, only eats plants. So building muscle is about using your muscles. It is important to get protein, but if you're following this, it's not my plate, Power Plate from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, you will get enough. If you wanted to calculate how much you need, you could do it in grams per weight, and it comes out to about 40 to 50 grams per day, or 10 to 25% of all your calories, but no more than that should come from protein. But the great thing about if you're eating a balanced whole food plant-based diet with the whole grains, vegetables, fruits, the leafy greens, and the legumes, you don't need to count anything, and you get everything you need except for the B12. So I love this comparison, looking at animal protein head to head with plant protein. And when you compare 4 ounces of ground beef to 4 ounces of black beans, they each contain 24 grams of protein, but the beef is 320 calories and the black beans is 120, so less than half. The beef is high in, makes your body more acidic, and it's high in cholesterol and fat. has no fiber and contains heterocyclic amines that are carcinogenic, whereas black beans are more alkalinizing in your body, have a much lower acidity. There's no cholesterol or saturated fat. They're a very high fiber food, and they're full of phytonutrients, not things that harm, but things that cure. And I love pointing out that the World Health Organization identified red meat and processed meats as carcinogens on October 26, 2015. And there was this Time magazine, the war on meat, I think it said in the bottom right corner. But the most carcinogenic foods are processed meats. It's what they add into it and how they're processed. So including deli meat, salami, pepperoni, sausage, hot dogs, bacon, and ham. And then I'm just going to put this slide up while I add my farro to the boiling water. But there's different classes of carcinogens. And I'm just going to say, I love this better than bouillon, veggie broth for a quick kind of flavor for grains. So I oftentimes just take like a little spoonful, like a teaspoon, and add it to the grains. It is a high sodium product, and it's not perfect. There is some, it has a lot of vegetables, but it's very tasty. Hey Siri, set timer to 40 minutes. Oh no.
40 minutes starting now.
Hey Siri, shut off the timer and reset it for 30 minutes.
It's cancelled.
Hey Siri, set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes starting now.
I forgot, the brown rice is 40, the farro's 30. So, so the processed meats are actually in this class 1 carcinogen category, same as cigarettes, as far as the data and the research linking them to cancer. And red meats are a 2A carcinogen, which means they're probable causes of cancer: pork, beef, lamb. How does animal protein promote cancer? Well, industry-raised animals are given hormones and antibiotics that create toxic residues that are ingested with the meat. Cooking animal foods at high heat, especially over grills or broilers, when you get that black char, it's a carcinogen. And it's this heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Those are both carcinogenic. Processing meats adds chemicals like nitrites that generate this carcinogen and nitroso compounds. And pesticides are often used in the animal feed that the animals eat, creating toxic residues. And inflammation, oops, someone got lost and came back. Okay, inflammation producing properties are found in meat from animal fed based diets. Is everyone back on?
Yeah, sorry. I have a poor connection. Sorry.
Yeah, you were like, when you were talking, your voice was kind of going in and out.
Yeah, it's not
So
good.
that's okay if you just come back if you get disconnected.
Okay, thank you.
And we're recording it, so you won't miss anything.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
The top 10 plant-based protein sources are soy, and we're going to talk about like the controversy over soy, but 9 grams of protein per 3 ounces. Nutritional yeast, which is a flavorful additive. It gives things like a cheesy flavor, is a great source of B12. That has 4 grams of protein in every 2 tablespoons. Seitan, which is a gluten product, has 20 grams of protein per 3 ounces. And it has more like, I hate saying like chicken, but you know, it has more kind of a consistency. Sometimes I chop it up with beans or put it in burritos. Whole grains have 8 grams per cup, and green veggies have 4 grams per half cup, and sprouted breads have 4 grams per slice. Potatoes have 8 grams in a big big one. And legumes, beans have 14 grams per cup, very high protein. Seeds have 8 grams per 1.5 ounces, and nuts 9 grams per 1.5 ounce. This was
What
from
is, sorry, what's sprouted bread?
like Ezekiel bread. Have you ever seen? I think
What kind?
yeah.
Ezekiel.
What?
Okay.
This is the brand Ezekiel, but it's made with
Okay.
sprouted grains. So what it means is they take the grains that they make it from and they soak them a little bit so that they sprout, and it increases their nutritional availability. So I like all the Ezekiel bread products. So those were the buns. I use those for like veggie burgers. And speaking of burgers, this was a chart I made for one of our Jumpstart programs to just compare beef burgers, turkey burgers, the Morningstar burgers, Impossible burgers, Beyond burgers, because everyone was asking about these. And then the Dr. Prager California veggie burger, which is my favorite. So, you know, one thing is the ingredients. You know, the thing about the beef burger, it's all beef. There's nothing else in it. Turkey burger did add some things. I'm not a fan of Morningstar. It had these ingredients, but 23 other things, including dairy and eggs. So I think a lot of people think the Morningstar products are all plant-based, and they're not. The Impossible burger and the Beyond burger have 14 and 16, 17, 18 products, ingredients. But the most important thing about the Impossible and Beyond burger to notice is, I always say the first 3 ingredients should have no refined grains, no sugar, and no oil. And the second ingredient and the third ingredient in the Impossible burger is coconut oil and sunflower oil. And the Beyond Meat burger, the second ingredient is canola oil, and the third ingredient is coconut oil. So they're very high fat. And if you look at the total fat across the board, the beef burgers have 25 grams, and the Beyond burger and Impossible burger are pretty high, where the Prager burger only has 6. And then if you look at saturated fats, of course, the plant-based burger is going to have 0, because there's no animal products. And the Beyond burger and Impossible burger have saturated fat because of the coconut oil. It's a plant-based saturated oil. And if you look at the fiber column, the plant-based burgers are going to have a, you know, fiber, where animal products don't have any. So there's also a Buddha burger, no. Yeah, Bubba burger. Bubba veggie burger seems pretty good too. People have asked me about. But just read the labels, and the best burgers are ones that you make. And I'm happy to share some of those recipes if you're interested. These are some plant-based protein drinks. If you're ever in like getting chemotherapy, or where you can't eat foods and you need low fiber, these are ones that the hospital nutritionists that are plant-based recommend, the Kate Farm or the Orgain plant-based protein shake. And then just a little word about soy. This is a 5-minute video, and I'm going to send it to you to listen to. It's Dr. Greger from, he wrote How Not to Die, and he has an amazing website called nutritionfacts.org. And there's no advertisers. It's a completely just nonprofit organization. He relies on donations when he speaks, and when he sells books, 100% of the profits go to maintaining this website. He just wants to like look at all the research, compile it all in one place. So he makes these videos where he looks at all the studies that have been released and then makes summaries. So this is a summary on why soy is healthy for breast cancer survivors. So it's very specific. But the bottom line, do I have it? Yeah. So the soy benefit summary is that soy foods naturally contain phytoestrogens. Phyto means plant, and estrogens. So they have these plant-based estrogens called isoflavones. And these are the different names of them. I can't pronounce them. But the scientific literature suggests that there's no dangerous effects from eating soy in women with breast cancer, but rather there's protective effects. Daily soy may also reduce the effects of xenoestrogens, which I'm going to go over. I would just avoid, too much of any good thing is bad. So avoid isoflavone supplements that people have come out with, concentrated forms of soy, overly processed soy, and non-organic soy. So you just want, organic soy in its wholest form, like edamame or tofu. I know a lot of people I was reading a whole social media thing where someone said they thought soy was great, and there's all these people going back and forth. But from all the data that I've looked at, it's really looking like soy is actually good for you, and it's not good to avoid it. Xenoestrogens have specific estrogen-like effects in the body, but come from other sources. And they're toxins that can imitate estrogens and increase the toxic burden and estrogen dominant symptoms. So they're found in a lot of stuff we use all the time. Plastics, especially when plastic's exposed to heat, like plastic wrap or plastic containers. Nail polish and nail polish removers, detergents, sorry about my dogs, and fabric softeners, perfumes and fragrances, bleached feminine hygiene products, surfactants found in condoms and contraceptive gels, fumes in new carpets, flooring, fiberboard that kind of give off those odors, dry cleaning chemicals, and noxious gases from copiers, printers, pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. So best to avoid all these things, right? Try to live clean. It's kind of overwhelming. The best sources of nutritional soy is fresh soybeans with the edamame, if you can find them. And also these dried, I have this red package, the dried soybeans that has no oil in it, and they're just freeze dried edamame. They're a great snack. Miso soup, tofu, soy milk, but tofu dog, soy sauce, soy oil, minimal to none, and not the best sources. So beans, which we talked about last time with fiber, are just, if you can digest them just in small amounts, if you're having trouble, and slowly increase. But the beans are an excellent source of fiber and nutrition and iron and vitamins, but also protein. Beans are low in fat, high in protein, heart healthy, with a very low glycemic index that helps regulate blood sugar. Beans have been shown to decrease cancer risk, and they're very high in fiber. They're very filling. They're the least expensive source of protein, and they're very nutrient rich. So different ways to eat more beans are to make bean dips, like hummus is made from chickpeas, but you can also mix in like white beans with it. Black bean soup, I could share a recipe if you're interested. And salads, adding beans to whenever you have salads, throw a half a cup of beans in. So I'm going to stop sharing. Any questions on the soy? Anybody confused about soy?
I had a question on the beans. If they're in the can, they don't need to be cooked, right?
Right.
That just heats them up.
Yeah, I always rinse them, drain them and heat them.
Yeah.
But I always heat them up. I never eat them like room temperature. You probably could, but
Yeah. I make a dip with black-eyed peas and black beans and jalapeno and red peppers and a little bit of sugar and oil, olive oil, and you just dip whatever into it. It's so good. But those I don't cook either, so I guess it's fine not to.
Yeah. Interestingly, I was reading the edamame frozen package because I normally take just like an inch of water in a little saucepan, put my edamame and just cook them for 5 minutes and drain the water. But then on the recipe, it said you can just thaw them and throw them in. But when I read the package, and this is probably just a lawyer thing that they have to, it says, make sure food is heated to internal temperature of 165. And I was like, But then I thought, it seems like a good idea anyway, to throw them in boiling water for a couple of minutes. Who knows, like in the processing or whatever. So that's what I did.
Or you could steam them too.
Yeah, they didn't. I tried them raw with, when they were thawed, and they tasted fine. But it's probably more of a contamination issue as opposed to they need to be cooked.
Yeah.
So, ready to make
I
this?
actually, I have a
Yeah.
question about the cleaning products and things
Yeah.
that you mentioned. Do you have like a list of cleaner, just if you're trying to go green with, like makeup or cleaning products or anything like that? I mean, I look at EWG website, but I was just curious if you had any
No.
particular ones.
I don't. I
Okay.
would love that though.
EWG is
Fine.
great, though.
What, Jane?
EWG is very informative.
Yeah, I agree.
I use Pure Haven, a lot of Pure Haven products,
Yeah,
and they're. this
I
is
like
one of them here.
and
So this one's just a cleaning thing, I think.
ooh,
Master Blaster.
and with
But they have everything from baby care to cleaning products to deodorant to face like makeup and stuff too.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I also love Jonathan Sprouts, which is a local sprouts company that I talked about before. They make the broccoli sprouts. They grow the broccoli sprouts, I should say. But they have a whole line of face products that I've fallen in love with. They have like an eye cream and a face cream and a face serum, and they have broccoli sprouts infused into their products. So I just feel like that's just going to be the best stuff if you're smearing broccoli sprouts all over your skin. I'd love to see studies on it. I don't know any studies. It just seems like it couldn't be bad. So I'm going to just check on my farro. Let's see. Good. So this is a salad that's just, I thought it was different from the other things we were making. I really like these organic girl greens that are washed, and they have, this one has red and green Swiss chard tatsoi, which is a Japanese green that I actually grow in my garden too, arugula and spinach. So I'm going to just put that in. And I know the recipe called for, romaine, but I just feel like the more leafy greens, the better, with a different variety. And some of these are cruciferous, and I'm feeding like 6 people. So I'm just making a lot. This is a bunch of romaine lettuce that I washed earlier. And I actually cut it up with scissors. It's the first time I've ever done that. So
Which ones did you get? Which scissors did you get? Did you get the veggie cutter scissors?
No, they're where are they? Oh, they're Cutco.
Cutco?
Yeah, they're just Cutco. They're like the most expensive scissors I've ever bought. But
Yeah,
my son's friend
sharp.
was doing it as a summer job and was making commission, so I had to buy a few things from him. But they're the best scissors I've ever owned.
Is he still selling it?
I don't think so. That was
Oh, all right. I'd say I'd order some.
And while we're on the same topic, someone gave me these as a housewarming gift once. They have 5 blades. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And they're herb scissors. So like you take your herbs and you just, just cut and it slices the herbs into little pieces.
Ooh.
Those are really fun.
Looks like Edward Scissorhands.
I know they're crazy, but
Yeah.
I love them. So I love these little cucumbers. And I just take the ends off. But cucumbers, these have like a nice crunch to them. So I'm just slicing them all lengthwise and then cutting them into half circles. The skins are very tender. And they come 6 in a package and they're organic Shaws. So they're just have that. And then we have the scallions, which is from our allium family, which is anti-cancer. We're going to add the scallions, and I'm going to throw in the onions into the dressing. You guys ever eat it Harukis? Their salad dressing is so good, and the first ingredient is onions. I've always tried to duplicate it, but I can't quite figure it out. But this one's kind of close with the ginger and the carrots, and I'm going to add the onions.
Yum. Did you say Haruki?
Yeah.
Mm,
Do you know Harukis?
yeah. Really good.
Yeah, and at Haruki's, you can ask for brown rice as far as like whole food. I'm just up my cabbage thinly. You can ask for brown rice, and you have the nori seaweed. And then if you ask them what they can do for plant-based sushi, like sometimes they have specials on the board, but I'll get like sweet potato, mushrooms, peanuts. I love the sweet potatoes with avocado and peanuts. So good. And they have some other kind of gourd vegetable, asparagus, cucumbers. It's possible to enjoy sushi and have it be plant-based too. Though I do love my tuna, but I do worry about the mercury content and whatever else is in the ocean. So here's another cruciferous vegetable, our red cabbage. And then the red cabbage, did I say red? The radishes are another cruciferous vegetable, although they're in a different kind of family or genus than cabbage and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. So I'm just slicing them, but they're very strong, I think. Can have like a little bite to them. So I'm going to make the pieces smaller and slice them so they're little sticks the long way. That way you get a little taste of the spiciness without it being too overpowering. And they're a good color. So this is, and Jane, you sent me a picture of your rainbow salad. Like this is kind of like that. It has a lot of colors in it.
Yours is prettier.
The more colors, the better.
The purple is gorgeous in that salad you're making.
Thank you. Just gonna check the farro. Looks good. Now, what else? Oh, here's my thing. Oh, so this is the tofu that I got. It's, it's not food ever. It's not like an A+ food. I like to rate everything. I don't mean to be all judgmental about food. I've got some criticism from people, but I want what's good for me and not what's not. So there's a little bit of sugar, there's a little agave. But overall, I'm going to get my tofu in. It is organic and it's very tasty and it saves a lot of time. So I just got this tonight.
Ooh.
So I think I'll just throw it in because I'm going to end up just tossing this whole thing together. And a 1/4 cup of sliced almonds. Also put in walnuts or whatever your favorite nut was. I'm going to put in a little more because it's kind of a big salad. And I think that'll give it a nice crunch. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds, but I'm going to add that afterwards and put it on the top. So that's the salad. And then the dressing, I did a little experiment before we started because I'm like, I don't feel like grating carrots. And I just threw a carrot in here just to see what would happen. And the blender grates it. So I am just gonna do that with my carrots. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of aminos, which is kind of a healthy version of soy sauce, and I do not have it. So I'm just gonna do soy sauce. I usually get low sodium. This is low sodium. Tamari is just a gluten-free version of soy sauce.
What is aminos?
Sorry,
I bought some.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Aminos is made from soy, and it has less sodium.
Okay. At Trader Joe's, they had coconut or smoky barbecue flavor.
Oh, but not plain?
They didn't have plain.
Oh.
They had a coconut. This is the one I ended up getting.
Yeah, I bought the coconut one, and I use it sometimes, but it definitely imparts like that coconut, and it's like a little sweeter from the coconut. So it depends if you like that or not. I just added 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, and you can leave out the oil, but oh, this hasn't been opened yet. I'm just going to add 1 teaspoon, and it's toasted sesame oil is
Yum.
such a yummy flavor. Yeah. It's not that much for a huge salad, but it's going to give it a little flavor. And then honey, you can leave out if you don't want the extra sweetener. I need a spoon. It's not going anywhere. So it calls for 2 teaspoons, which I'm just going to estimate with my spoon. 2 tablespoons of minced ginger. And this is something that I love ginger, anti-inflammatory, lots of antioxidants. It doesn't, a lot of people do this and kind of, peel it. But then I was on some cooking show. They were like, there's nothing wrong with the skin. So then I stopped doing it. And I'm all for like shortcuts and making cooking quick. And if the skin has fiber and is good for you, like why peel it? Sure, like purist chefs would be aghast. And I also estimate everything. It calls for 2 tablespoons, I think. So based on the size of what I started with, I'm just kind of guessing. I love this microplaner. It grates going both directions, that way and that way. So it like does it twice as fast.
Any issue with just using like ground ginger? Shaker?
Yeah, like powdered ginger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not the same. You definitely could, but it doesn't. I think there's just a huge difference in flavor. But yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. If you don't have it, that's what I would use.
Okay.
I sometimes buy the frozen ones. They're in like little pellets, kind of. The size. I think they're either a teaspoon or a tablespoon each, and you just pop it out and add it to whatever.
Yeah, they make those with like basil.
Yep.
And other things too.
Right.
I haven't tried that, but I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah, they work really well.
So I'm going to add like a 1/4 cup maybe of red onion. Oh, and then I have, it calls for 2 teaspoons, I think, of minced garlic. My method for getting that skin off quickly is a flat wooden spatula and just smash it. Some people use a knife, but I feel like, you know, you could cut yourself. So I'd rather use something that can't get hurt on. And I'm gonna just cut out that dead end. And just the skin comes right off. I probably over smashed this. It didn't have to be so violent.
It doesn't matter, it's going in the blender anyway.
Right, you mean skin?
No, I mean that you smashed it.
Oh, yeah. No, I
Doesn't
just meant
really matter.
it kind of disappeared in there.
Oh, I see.
But that is good. That's gonna be great. This is gonna be really garlicky. Yummy. All right, what else? The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of water twice, which was a mistake. A 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric.
I love that.
This is gonna get even more orangey than it will be already. And then whenever you use turmeric, you all add black pepper. It increases the absorption 2,000 times. So I think that's everything. Carrot, oh, I didn't have the water. I will do that. Carrot, water, aminos, rice vinegar, ginger, sesame oil, garlic, honey, turmeric.
Yum.
2 tablespoons. All right. Hey Siri, off. So that's my farro. And it looks great. There's 2 ways to do farro. You can do the rice method, where you measure the exact amount of water with the exact amount of farro according to the directions and cook it like rice. And when it's done, all the water is gone. Or you can do the pasta method, where you put in excess water, you cook it until it's done, and then you drain the water. All right, so it's really good. I'm just gonna drain the water real quickly. Shut off the heat. There's not that much extra water at all. So I just drained it. I'm gonna just put it over here for now. Get the lid off, let it cool a little bit. All right, and now I'm just gonna blend this. Be right back. Oh, it smells so good. I wish you guys could smell this. It smells like soup that I would want to order from a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like carrot ginger soup. This is what it looks like. It's pretty thick, like you could thin it out, but I'm not sure it matters because we're just gonna toss it with everything. Wow, it's garlicky and gingery for sure. But I think, you know, when it's diluted with all of that. I think I'm going to add a little more water just because I think it'll blend better. I forgot to add my edamame too. So that's that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right?
Mhm.
So that's everything.
Show you something?
Yeah.
Arnie bought this. Do you think it loses its,
That looks good.
you think it's okay?
Yeah, I do.
Because I always wonder if things in jars lose their nutritional value because they're sitting in liquid and in the fridge for long periods.
Right. I think there probably is some truth to that, like with onions and garlic. When you chop them fresh, you're breaking the cell walls and activating the enzymes that are activating the antioxidants. So it kind of makes sense to me that when you do it fresh, you're getting like a way more of that kind of active stuff, right? Once it's all chopped and in a jar and sitting in the fridge, I just think it's still, I'm sure it's still good for you. It's better than not having it at all, but it's probably not as good.
Okay, thank you.
Same with like turmeric. I just realized I used this turmeric, which I think is pretty powerful, the powder form, but I had right here in this bag, fresh turmeric that I could have used. Have you guys seen this?
No.
It's just like ginger. I mean, not, except it's a different color. But it looks very similar. It's smaller and it has smaller little branches. But when you cut into it, it is like bright
Wow.
orange. And then I just do the same thing with this grater and just go and put it in whatever. You can put it in a smoothie and a salad dressing.
So you don't have to skin it, just like with the
Yeah, same thing.
ginger, right?
If it's not organic, then
Yeah.
maybe to take the skin off. In general, the pesticides are going to be, more concentrated on the outside if it's not organic. And if you think the skin is gross, then of course you can peel it. But messing with these little turmerics, when you peel it, your fingers will be orange for a couple of days. The other thing I used to do is buy turmeric. I don't do this anymore. I just find it easier to just do the fresh, but I used to do this in like, make a huge pile and then put it in a baggie, which probably has estrogens in it, and then stick it in the freezer, like flatten it out. And then whenever I wanted it, I would just break a chunk off of the frozen grated turmeric just to make it easy. But then I decided just as easy. And I use it more when it's sitting right here. So.
Are you familiar with stasher bags?
Stasher, no.
They are, I have them here. I don't know if they're silicone or what, but you can store food in them. And I was wondering if you knew or know if they are safe, but you haven't heard of them. They're fantastic for food storage, but I don't know that there aren't estrogens or anything in it.
Yeah, in our Jumpstart Your Health group, we were talking about like when you roast vegetables and you don't want to use oil, some of the options are use parchment paper, use a silicone mat, or there's this non-stick aluminum foil. Yes. So then we were talking about, well, what's bad about each of those things? Which one's the least bad? Is silicone really inert? Like, does really nothing come off of it when you're baking at 450 degrees in the oven? I don't really know. So I looked up a little bit, and there's not a lot of information. The parchment paper seems really inert, And I think and the aluminum foil, I don't know what's on the coating that makes it nonstick and it, so to me, it seemed like the parchment paper was the best.
Yeah.
But so that's what I use.
I thought
more.
the aluminum foil that was non-stick just had like oil already kind of sprayed on it, sort of. There's like a mist of something on there. I don't know.
Yeah, probably very little. I have
Like it's been waxed or something,
wax. I don't know.
maybe.
It makes me that you can't when they figured out, oh my God, where all the cans have BPA in them and this is, bad for us. And now we need to remove it from everything we've lined, for the last however many years. Kind of makes you crazy, right? But then what are they now lining it with that they're not telling us? Because we never knew there was no one knew what BPA was, and then it was lining all the cans. So I don't know. You can do as
Well, before that was lead, right?
right.
So that was all leaching into your canned products.
Right.
Ugh.
So, you do whatever you can to try to be clean. And I think we kind of just got like into this in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It was just getting worse and worse. And I feel like we're trying to get better, but the only way to really know is to have organically grown produce and vegetables that aren't stored in any kind of plastic and I know, right? It's discouraging. But you don't want to make yourself crazy over it either, right? So it's like finding that balance of well, I want to try to eat organic if I can, but if they only have, like today I was at Shaw's and they only had conventionally grown blueberries, it's better to have the blueberries than to not, in my mind, than to not, and from the research that's been done, like the benefits of eating blueberries outweighs, the pesticides. But if you have the option, you want to buy organic. I always think it's going to take so long and it doesn't, which I think is a good thing, right? It's not as complicated.
Yeah, we don't want to cook things that take forever.
Have you guys made any of the other recipes?
My daughter made the stroganoff. She's been eating pescatarian, I guess. And I sent her that recipe and she loved it.
Oh, good.
That was good. Yeah.
I love that recipe. It is so tasty.
I made that also. It came out pretty good. I think I have a couple tips for next time, but for my first shot of ever cooking tofu even, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made the first night's meal with the dressing with miso. Oh my goodness, that dressing is so good.
So,
It
The
was
green goddess.
green goddess. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so good.
I
It was
wish
better.
I poured it all over like this huge amount of vegetables. And I don't think that dressing stores well because of the avocado. It oxidizes and then it just didn't taste good the next day.
That's true. I found that also.
Saved it and just put it on. And I bet if you kept the dressing in a small container without a lot of air, maybe that would last. But when you spread it all over all the vegetables, it just.
I had it in a container and it didn't last well. It was really great the first night when I made it. I made it with class, but after that it wasn't.
Yeah. The other option to make it, but only, I don't know how you do that. I was going to say add the avocado fresh,
I think that's a great idea because you could blend it up with even an immersion.
Yeah, everything else except the avocado, and then you can just add the fresh
when you're ready.
Yeah.
I made the guacamole when we made it, and I put a lot of lime in it. It stayed green for a couple days, which it never does. I don't know what it must have been. I put too much lime juice in it, which it was tasty, but I think that's what did it.
Yeah, the lime is an antioxidant, the citrus. So you can do that too. When you cut an avocado and you're only going to eat half of it, you can sprinkle a lime or lemon on the cut half and then store it face down, and it will not turn brown. It will. And I also have this silly thing.
Whoops,
My avocado container. Do you guys have one of these?
no.
It's like the perfect shape for an avocado, so there's not a lot of air. So I put like, lemon or lime on this side, and then you store it face down.
I have one that has the top part is silicone.
Oh, nice.
So I have one for onions too, but so when you put it on, the avocado would push, the other half will push out.
Oh, so that really minimizes the air in there.
Yeah, and the onion one works really well.
I like
I
that.
never have it. Yeah.
Where do you get those?
I think it was at TJ Maxx or Home Goods. The brand is Joy,
Oh yeah,
Joie.
thanks. I like those.
And what is an avocado storer?
Yeah, it's shaped like an avocado, and it has the two halves, and it slides. No, I'm not going to be able to get it open.
Better too, because it doesn't take up a lot of space when you're not using it.
Yeah,
Wow.
they separate like this. And you just put the avocado face the open side down, and then just push this over the top, and the stretches to allow the top part.
Wow, cool. Interesting.
And this is my onion one. Same thing. So you put the onion, the flat side down, and then just like that, and it pushes open.
Wow,
the-
it bulges.
Yeah,
Wow.
same company. They were next to each other, and I said, "Oh, those look interesting." And the onion one I use a lot. The avocado one, I don't eat just half an avocado. I'll eat the whole thing. So, or whoever I'm serving.
Well, I will send you out that the soy video. Do you guys have any other questions?
I had one other question just about like going completely plant-based versus partial. So like, my thinking is I'm going to do it when I'm at home 100% of the time. And then when I go out, like if I go to a restaurant and there's a good option, I'll eat it. But if there's not, like I'd probably go to get the salmon. Like I don't want to, I went out once and I ended up getting a salad, and I laughed because it was like $18 and I thought it was a side salad. It was really kind of funny, especially after seeing like these other salads and things like that. So I guess like if you don't go 100%, it's better. It's still good to go 80% or 90%, right? I mean, it's just kind of.
Yeah, and I always say like it's so important to just enjoy life and enjoy your food, not feel guilty. And yeah, I eat salmon and cod, and sometimes when you go out to restaurants, like the plant-based option is so disappointing, or it has like a ton of oil and it's not necessarily healthier than, maybe if there's a broiled fish option with a ton of veggies.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
you should,
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, just to not get so stressed out about it all, I guess.
like love, but if it's something that is not good for you, then try to just eat it and but eat more and more of all these plants and the anti-cancer foods to kind of balance things out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm gonna stop recording at any rate, and